there guys, welcome to day 3. Now today's going to be a little bit different because we're going to be doing a little bit of a strategy lesson, but mostly this is all about Q&A for the juice challenge, because this isn't of course just about a juice challenge 7 days. This is about juicing for life and making this a lifelong habit. And there's been a bunch of questions that have come up in the Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, stop it. Go and join. Pause this video, go and join. If you're watching this within the Facebook group, congratulations to you. You get a gold star for today. So these are questions that have come up in the Facebook group, but also on email. And it's important to cover these questions off because this is something that I want you guys to be getting right. I don't want you to be going into juicing with the wrong frame of mind or the wrong idea about what you should be juicing or how you should be juicing. And really some of these questions, the answers to some of these questions are going to make everything a lot easier. Now, first, I just want to give you this slight strategy session. So it's all about community and support, because for those of you that are in the Facebook group at the moment, or for those of you that are doing the juice challenge, again, that are in my alkaline base camp, we did this juice challenge in November. So some of you guys are doing it again. You will have already seen just how powerful community and support can be when you're making healthy changes and forming new habits in your diet and in your lifestyle, not just to get the grounding right, not just to get things moving and get that support while you get things moving, but the results, the inspiration that you get from others lift your own game as well, and it makes you see that things are possible from people that are just like you. Like, it's all well and good to look at the people who run websites like myself, or the gurus that are out there doing their thing and getting amazing results, but it's easy to look at that and go, oh, but it's okay for them because they have more time or more money or more access to resources and all these types of things. When you're in a community of like-minded people that truly are just like you, they've got the same hassles, the same struggles, the same challenges, the same mountains to climb, and they're getting those results, the motivation and just what I believe is the level of expectation increases. There's another quote. I kicked off day 2 with a quote. There's a quote for day 3 as well, and it's from that famous author called Unknown, but it's "A rising tide lifts all ships." And I think that's really just so succinctly covering what I'm trying to say here, which is when you get into that community of like-minded people and people start to knock those goals in, it lifts the level of expectation within yourself without there being pressure and going, oh, feeling bad because that person's doing so well, why am I not? It lifts your mental game to think this is possible, or what else could be possible. That's the first thing that a community really does. The second thing is it gives you a chance to give back. When you're in a community like that we've got going on for the Juice Challenge now on Facebook, definitely like my Alkaline Base Camp, when you start to feel that you can give back to that community, answering other people's questions, supporting other people, something crazily magic happens within you, and it just increases your motivation and sustainability to stick to your path. You become a true advocate of what you're doing internally when you start to give back and give out and support other people. I think that's really special. The community is of course impeccably brilliant for accountability and making you stick to those things, even on those tough days, like when you're doing the juice challenge and you've got an early meeting, so you're going to have to get up super early to get your juice in, or get back from work late and do your juice late at night after you've made dinner and dealt with the kids and everything else. It gives you that accountability and that capacity to just go that extra mile. When you're doing things in isolation on your own, it's so easy to just go, oh, just this once, I'll get back on it tomorrow. But when you're in a community and you're all doing it together and there's that togetherness, it just gives you that lift and that motivation, that extra, sometimes just that extra 1% to just get the job done on that day. And momentum builds when you're making these simple changes, these simple habits. Every single day builds, and it is just, the growth is exponential. Frankly, I give away a lot to my Alkaline Base Camp members. Every month they're getting new meal plans, on specialist meal plans on things like weight loss, on digestive healing, on balancing hormones and things like that, with shopping lists and loads of new recipes every month. They're getting master classes, they're getting Q&A calls and interviews, and we do challenges like this pretty much every month. We've done a quick sugar challenge, juicing challenge, hydration challenge. We've got a great big 10-day challenge happening for our reboot month in January that's happening. All of this stuff that everybody gets every month. But I tell you what, the most valuable part of that membership is without question the community, where people have that opportunity to ask questions, get in touch with me one-on-one, get that feedback from each other, feel that rising tide, that motivation, that support, and the ability to give back within that community. That's where the magic happens. That's why I created the Facebook group for this challenge. And I know that not everyone can get onto Facebook and not everyone's got a Facebook account, and that's perfectly fine. You've still got everything you need to do the challenge with the daily emails and the videos and everything else. But that's why I wanted to create this community, to give there an opportunity to experience what it's like to have that team, those people behind you that have got your back, that you've got their backs, and experience that growth and that support and that togetherness, you know, as a whole, as a unit. For those of you that aren't on Facebook or don't have access to Facebook, this can be created in other ways. You can create your tribe in other ways. You can join groups, meet up groups, just friends and families that you can, family members that you can get that accountability with, that you can team up with. Even just you and one other person can be enough. I remember when I was living in Sydney, the time that I was most consistent and most impressive to myself with working out in the gym. And I'm a runner. I don't naturally take to going to the gym. Just putting that out there. I know I look like I weigh like 15 stone of pure muscle, but it will surprise you, I prefer running. I can just go for a run every day or run all day. Going to the gym is tricky for me, but the time when I was almost addicted to going to the gym was when I was part of a small group, very informal group. There was one guy who was the trainer. We weren't paying him, but he was the trainer. And then there was the three of us younger guys, and then we started to train each other, and having that accountability to being there for the trainer who was turning up to train us, even when it was just me and him for several months at a time. Having that accountability, I couldn't just not show up, but at the same time being then able to pass that on to somebody else as well, because I wouldn't know when one of the younger guys would show up as well. You know, that for me, just that little group, 2 to 3 to 4 people, was enough to make me consistently take action for many years. It was only moving from Sydney to Melbourne that stopped that. So even if you haven't got the capacity for online, even if Facebook isn't your thing and you don't feel comfortable interacting with strangers in that way, strangers, they soon don't become strangers, which is a whole other thing. I lose track of the number of genuine friendships that have come out of the Alpine Base Camp community. Even if you don't have that, just finding that small tribe, that small group offline, it honestly can make everything 10 times easier, 100 times easier. So community is so important. Giving to and receiving from, that's the important part. So yes, find that for yourself. You've got it here with the Juice Challenge Facebook group. Find it for yourself in your life for when you finish this. It is absolutely critical. So Q&A time. Onto the Q&A. I've just realised my water is right over the side of the room. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going. So Q&A time. There's a couple of questions that have come in. I've just got them written down here. Sorry if the table wobbles. That's me just looking at the questions. One of the main questions that's come through is the difference between juices and smoothies. So this comes up when we do a juice challenge because there's a bunch of people that have got blender but they haven't got a juicer. So is it okay to blend, or what's the difference? Anyway, I got an email, or it may have been on the Facebook group this morning, saying I want to do the challenge. So I've gone to buy a juicer today, but there's a lot of websites saying to me that blending is better and I should buy a blender. So what gives, basically? Well, the reality is they're both awesome. Juicing is brilliant because it removes the fiber, so it makes all of the nutrients in the food much more easily digestible and easy for the body to assimilate and spread those nutrients around and use those nutrients. They go straight to the cells, and the impact is rapid and is 100% nutrient. The thing is, you can't juice certain things, so you can't juice an avocado. Generally speaking, you can't go juicing like ingredients like cacao and nuts and seeds and the types of things that you can put in a smoothie. But the main difference with juicing is you're removing that fiber, so you're getting the nutrients much quicker. The downside of a juice is that you're removing the fiber, so you're removing that potential for that fiber from your diet. The upside with smoothies and using a blender is you have the fiber in there. The downside is, guess what? You have the fiber in there. So that's really it. That's why I use both, because there are times and applications for both. Using both is really important. They're both mechanisms to deliver a massive amount of nutrition into your diet with very little effort and very little time required. Like, you know, when you, for instance, you know, you guys, first day you made the AAA juice, yesterday you made the liver flush. Could you imagine the volume of food that's in that bucket, that big bowl before you juice it? Could you imagine eating that in one sitting in 2 minutes? Of course not. It's like enough vegetables and leaves there to make a salad for 4 people, but you're getting it in just one small drink. Same with blenders, with smoothies. So I like to use both because I like to have that additional fiber and I like to have the nutrients very, very quickly delivered to my cells. Like I said, you can't juice an avocado, but you can't blend certain ingredients that you would juice. Like, generally speaking, you can't blend celery, you can't blend carrots. So it's kind of, there's flexibility with both to allow you to have different kind of flavors and different kind of textures and combinations. Like with smoothies, often you can make them, you know, quite creamy with like almond milk or coconut milk, using avocados, having things like nuts and seeds and cacao powders and maca and all those sort of things to make it much more of a superfood kind of creamy blend. With juices, it's much more about the leaves, to be honest, which just, yeah, they've each got their benefits. One isn't better than the other. Why am I doing it as a juice challenge? Because I think the impact from having a daily juice is bigger than the impact from having a smoothie every day. Because generally speaking, in a juice, you're getting more vegetables, more dark leafy greens. Remember that powerhouse fruits and vegetables study that I mentioned in the first video? You're getting more leafy greens and you're getting them delivered into your body direct to the cells. So the energy benefit, the antioxidant benefit, the anti-inflammatory benefit is instant, and it's just much more efficient than blending. Obviously, with a smoothie, with the fiber, it's generally going to keep you going for longer. The widely accepted equation for satiation, which is like how hungry or not you are. So the satiety equation generally accepted is the amount of protein, fiber, and fat. With smoothies, you get to include much more protein, fiber, and fat. So smoothies do tend to keep you going for longer. So there isn't a right or wrong with this. It's just being aware that it's not that easy to take the juice recipes in this challenge and just blend them, because some of those recipes just aren't built for being a smoothie, frankly. But if all you have is a blender, just go for the challenge anyway. Do it for 7 days. Pick a couple of the recipes that you think are going to work as a smoothie and just go for it and just repeat them. Which comes to sort of the part B of that question, which is, can I use a blender? Can I use a NutriBullet or a Vitamix or something like that? I'd say yes, but like I said, the taste could be a bit weird and the texture could be a bit weird for some of them, especially because pretty much every juice that I make has celery in it, which doesn't blend that well because it's just too fibrous. It doesn't have a very nice mouthfeel. What I'd probably do is leave out the celery, add in some nut milk of some kind, coconut milk or almond milk, or you know, one of the hemp seed milk or quinoa milk I've even seen now. Add in like a nut milk, a non-dairy milk, and add in some avocado. Then the recipes might make sense and you can go for it. Of course, you are going to get fiber, so the difference is going to be there. But I would rather you do that than not do it at all. There's a possibility that at some point in the future I will do a 7-day green smoothie challenge, but I can't absolutely commit to that because I often have a habit of committing to things when I'm doing Q&A sessions and then going, holy smokes, how am I going to do all of that? So I'm not going to commit to it, but it could happen. Next question. This one came through in the Facebook group on Wednesday, which was, can I make a juice the night before and keep it overnight? Yes, you can. So there's a couple of things to this. The first is, of course, a lot of people work shift work, or their partner that they're doing it with works different hours to them, so they want to be able to make 2 at once, put one in the fridge for later for their partner. Juice is generally similar to oils and fats. There's 3 things that will make a juice go bad: light, air, and heat. So if you make the juice, put some ice in it, put it in an airtight container, get it in the fridge, it will keep for probably 36 hours. The first thing to go with the juice is actually the taste, and you have to be a little bit careful with this, because if you have a couple of juices where the taste, especially with the greens, has started to turn a little bit, even though you're still getting the nutrients, it's a very distinctive kind of unusual taste that can really put you off juices generally. So just be careful to have it as quickly as you can, as fresh as you can, but keeping it in that airtight container in the fridge, preferably with an ice cube or 2 in there as well. That's going to really, really help. This is kind of segueing into a bit of a tip, and on day 6, I think it is, I'm going to go through a whole bunch of tips on making juicing tastier, easier, and more efficient for you to take forward, so that you don't just stop at 7 days. But this is basically a little tip, which is, and all of my recipes are built for this, which is make 2 times more than you need so that you've got another juice for later. If you've got the juicer out, you've cleaned ingredients, you're going to have to wash up anyway, you've got the same amount of work, but you can make 2. Why not make double the amount you need? Most of my, well, all of my juice recipes are built for 2, because I want people to do this. If you're doing this with a partner or with someone else, then you get 1 each. But if you're doing it on your own, make the full amount, get 1 in that airtight container in the fridge with the ice for later. The gift you're giving your body is fantastic. Why not double it? This can also work if you, when you finish the challenge. I don't want to meddle with the 7-day element of the challenge and the juicing every day the way I've built it, because I've built this challenge very specifically. But once you've finished, why not make 2 times as much as you need and have the second one the next day? The nutrients you would lose in that time is negligible, to be honest. Fresh is always best, but the nutrients you'll lose in that time is negligible. So why not only have to juice every other day? What easier way can you think of to have a juice every day than to only having to make a juice every other day? Brilliant. So you can do that. You can make twice as much, keep some for the next day, or make it at night and have it ready the next morning, which is great if you work odd hours like I tend to at the moment. It's great to make your juice the night before. Simply, if you've got a really early start, you know, get out the door at 6 a.m, rather than waking up your whole family with the juicing machine at 5 a.m, make it the night before, keep it in the fridge, have it the next day. Next question. Can I leave out ingredient X because I'm allergic or don't like it, etc., etc.? Absolutely. There's a few people that have got issues with, I know, in the liver flush juice with grapefruit, just through taste preference or medications. There's some people that have got intolerances of nightshades, so aren't so great with tomatoes or capsicums. Generally speaking, yes, just leave the ingredient out and add in more of an ingredient that you do like. That's absolutely fine. There's also people, sorry, I'm getting distracted, there's a tiny spider crawling towards me here, so that will speed me up in this Q&A process. If you find a couple of juices that you really love, feel free to just repeat them. You don't have to stick to everything absolutely perfectly that I've laid it out for you. I have put thought into these juices. These juices have been constructed over these 7 days to give you everything that I think you could possibly need in 7 days. It's like you've only got 7 days to nourish someone as much as possible. That's the mindset I've gone into this with for you. So absolutely stick to it if you just want to keep it easy, but if there is a particular juice or a handful of juices that you really love, you can just repeat them as well, so that's fine. If there's something you're allergic to or you don't like, simply leave it out. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Okay, next question. What about fruit? Fruit is definitely a no. When it comes to juicing, fruit is a no, and that's going to come as a surprise to a lot of people. You often see it online, especially since juicing's really taken off in the last few years, which is people will go, here's my awesome green juice, here's the recipe. It's like 2 leaves of spinach, 3 oranges, a pineapple, 4 apples, and a banana, and you go, that contains like 100 grams of sugar and not really any greens. Just enough greens to colour it green, but it's not really green juice. The problem is with the fructose. So fructose is basically only metabolized by the liver. Other sugars can be metabolized all over the body. All different organs, all different processes can metabolize different sugars other than fructose, which can only be metabolized by the liver. When you subject the liver to a high rapid dose of fructose, it basically doesn't cope. It causes, over the long term, it will cause irreparable damage to the liver. In the short term, the toxic byproduct of your liver metabolizing a high dose of sugar, the byproduct of that is visceral fat cells. among other things. It's incredibly unbalancing to your insulin levels, your cortisol levels, having knock-on effects to your adrenals and your thyroid, among other elements of your endocrine system. It's pretty bad. It's a whole lesson, to be honest. Fructose is a whole lesson. If you've been on my quick sugar webinar, you would have heard a lot of this. For you guys in the Alkaline Base Camp, when we went through Quick Sugar Month and the Quick Sugar Challenge together, in fact, I think there's a couple of people doing the Quick Sugar Challenge now as like their New Year challenge in the Alkaline Base Camp. We've gone over this in great detail. There is a lot of detail to it, but what you need to know is fructose is as acid forming as any other sugar, and it is especially bad because of its damage to the liver, its unbalancing of your hormones, and so on and so on and so on. Now, that isn't to say don't eat fruit. Fructose, when consumed with fiber, when it is consumed by eating, so you're chewing it, which naturally slows down the speed at which the fructose is hitting the liver, much better. I still say people 1 to 2 pieces of in-season fruit a day is totally fine. Juicing fruit is off. Don't do it. It's just not worth it. The amount of fructose that you get when you do juice fruit, you're not only removing the fiber and the speed, increasing the speed to liver, but when you're juicing like a whole apple, a whole orange, half a pineapple, like people do in these recipes, it's an unholy amount of fructose all at once. It's so damaging to your liver and your endocrine system, and the knock-on effects that can have on the rest of the body are just not worth it. In fact, one of the biggest knock-on effects is the inflammatory signals that the liver sends out. Really does have a knock-on effect to your immune system. Well, you guys know I talk about it enough, but inflammation is at the root cause of pretty much every preventable disease in the world. So you don't want to be unnecessarily inflaming yourself. People talk about the goodness in fruits, so eat it. The goodness that you can get from fruit, you can get from vegetables. Vegetables don't have the fructose. So that's the general rule. You won't see any fruit in my juices, that's for sure. What if I don't like the taste? If you don't like the taste, there's a couple of things we can do. We'll elaborate more on this in day 6, but the main thing, the easiest thing to recommend for now is to squeeze some lemon or lime into your juice once you've finished, or just simply water it down. That's probably going to be your best bet for now, the easiest way to look at it for now. Just water it down and have the juice spread out throughout the day, or keep it super concentrated and just knock it back and toughen up. That's another way of looking at it. That's pretty much all of the questions that have been sent so far. If you've got any other questions, definitely feel free to put them below this video, either way you're watching it outside of the community or watching it within the Facebook community, and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. I'm probably going to be doing a Facebook Live session within the community on Tuesday, on day 7, possibly before then as well, we'll see. But yeah, any questions, let me know. This is the beauty of the community, is you get to access me one-on-one. I used to do one-on-one sessions with people, and I'm telling you now, they were very expensive. So utilize the element of the community while you have it during this juice challenge. So that's it for today. Well done on getting this far. I should have said that at the top of the video. Well done. I'm super proud of every single one of you, even if you're lagging a bit behind, or have skipped a day. Just if you're keeping on going, if you fall off track and you get back up and keep on going, I'm just as impressed. So have a great day, enjoy today's juices, and I'll see you all tomorrow for tomorrow's strategy session. Keep on going, guys, you're going great.